You are on the Messages from the Soul channel. Subscribe now, turn on notifications, and help spread light in the form of messages. There's a well-known saying when Peter talks about Paul, "I know more about Peter than about Paul." This simple sentence carries a profound truth about human nature and how much our words reveal about who we really are. Think about it. How many times have you heard someone speak ill of another person? How many times have you yourself commented on someone else's mistakes, choices, or life? And, when doing so, did you stop to reflect on what your words were saying about you? Because that's what happens. When we open our mouths to judge, criticize, or comment on other people's lives, we're not just talking about them, we're revealing the contents of our own souls. We're showing the kind of perspective we have on the world, the degree of compassion that dwells within us, and the level of spiritual maturity we've reached. Judgment is one of humanity's greatest weaknesses. It's something we do almost automatically, without realizing it. Many people criticize, opine, and comment on the lives of others so naturally, so habitually, that they don't even realize how much it reveals about them. And yet, every word that comes out of our mouths is like a mirror. It reflects exactly who we are inside. The way we judge and speak about others reveals our level of maturity, empathy, and love. It shows whether we have a welcoming heart or a condemning heart. It shows whether we are able to see beyond appearances or whether we cling only to what is superficial and visible. God gave us the gift of speech so that we can communicate, connect, comfort, teach, and love. But this same gift, when used unconsciously, can become one of the greatest sources of suffering both for the speaker and the listener. Often, we believe we are simply commenting on someone else's mistake. We think we are being sincere, realistic, or even fair when pointing out someone's flaws. But we rarely stop to observe the tone we use. We rarely ask ourselves if there is some hidden pleasure in highlighting the other person's fault. We rarely realize the lack of care in publicly exposing someone, or the absence of love when speaking about what we don't fully understand. And all of this, the tone, the intention, the veiled pleasure, the carelessness, reveals deep traits of our personality. It reveals vanity when we want to feel superior by pointing out the mistakes of others. It reveals selfishness when we care more about being right than about helping others. It reveals immaturity when we fail to recognize that all of us, without exception, are in a process of learning. That's why it's so important to develop common sense. It's so important to reflect before speaking. It's so important to pause, take a deep breath, and ask yourself honestly, is what I'm about to say constructive? Will it help someone grow, become stronger, transform? Or will it only fuel judgment, discord, and separation? Because there are words that build and words that destroy. There are words that heal and words that wound. There are words that uplift and words that degrade, and the choice is ours. At every moment, in every conversation, in every comment, we have the power to choose what kind of words we will put into the world. Language is one of the most powerful forces we possess. It can soothe a troubled soul or aggravate an already open wound. It can bring hope or spread despair. It can bring people closer or drive them apart forever. And Jesus, in his infinite wisdom, warned us about this. He said, "He who lives by the sword, dies by the sword." This is a spiritual law that never fails. Everything we put into the world, in the form of thought, word, or deed, returns to us, not as punishment, but as a natural consequence, as a lesson, as an opportunity for growth. Words, when used unconsciously, can generate spiritual consequences that are reflected in our lives in ways we never imagined. How many difficulties we face today might be the result of irresponsible words spoken in the past? How many problems in relationships, at work, and health might be linked to thoughtless judgments, unnecessary criticism, and negative attitudes that we create and spread without realizing it? This isn't meant to generate guilt, it's meant to generate awareness. Because when we understand the power we have, when we realize that we are co-creators of our own reality, we can make better choices, we can monitor our thoughts, be careful with our words, and act with more love and responsibility. If we want to grow spiritually, if we want to draw closer to God, if we want to live in peace and harmony, we need to watch what we say and how we say it. We need to observe our intentions. We need to honestly ask ourselves, why am I saying this? What is the real reason behind my words? Because often, without realizing it, we speak driven by pride, envy, resentment, and the need to feel superior. And all of this distances us from God. All of this distances us from our essence, which is love. Just as we don't like to be judged on, nobody does, we should also avoid judging, because nobody truly knows what another person is going through. Nobody knows the secret pains, the inner battles, the challenges that each soul carries. Nobody has the right to judge, because only God knows the heart of each person. If God, who is infinite in love and wisdom, does not judge us but welcomes us with mercy and patience, why do we, so imperfect and limited, allow ourselves to judge our brothers and sisters, speaking less about others and observing oneself more is an exercise in humility, wisdom, and inner light. It's recognizing that we have much to learn, much to improve, much to work on within ourselves. It's understanding that, instead of wasting time and energy commenting on other people's lives, we could be using that time to get to know ourselves better, to pray, to meditate, to serve, to love. Imagine if, instead of criticizing, you prayed for that person. Imagine if, instead of pointing out the mistake, you offered a word of encouragement. Imagine if, instead of spreading gossip, you spread kindness. How different would the world around you be? How different would your life be? Because everything you give, you receive back. This is a divine, immutable law. If you sow love, you reap love. If you sow judgment, you reap judgment. If you sow kindness, you reap kindness. If you sow criticism, you reap criticism. And here's the great truth we need to understand. When you speak about someone, you are revealing the contents of your own soul. Your words are a direct reflection of what exists within you. If you speak with compassion, it is because there is compassion in your heart. If you speak harshly, it is because there is harshness in your heart. If you speak with love, it is because there is love in your heart. So, before speaking, observe. Observe what is within you. Observe what motivates your words. Observe if there is pride, vanity, resentment, and, if there is, work on it in silence. Ask God to purify your heart. Ask Him to help you see the other person with eyes of compassion and love. Because only then, with a purified heart, a peaceful soul, and elevated thoughts, can you use your words for good. Only then can you be an instrument of light, healing, and transformation. And when you start watching your words, something incredible will happen. You will realize that your words have power. The power to calm, to comfort, to inspire. The power to heal wounds, to restore hope, to touch hearts. And you will understand that this is the divine purpose of communication, not to judge, but to love. Not to separate, but to unite. Not to hurt, but to heal. Think about this today. Reflect on the words you have spoken, on the judgments you have made, on the way you have spoken about others. And ask yourself, does this reflect who I truly want to be? Does this bring me closer to God or further away from Him? Because the choice is always yours. And every word you say is an opportunity to choose love instead of judgment, to choose kindness instead of criticism, to choose light instead of shadow. May God illuminate your heart and your mouth. May He help you always speak with wisdom, compassion, and love. And may your words always be a reflection of the divine presence that dwells within you. If this message touched your heart, share it with someone special. And leave a comment saying what you felt. And don't forget to subscribe to the Messages from the Soul channel to continue receiving words of faith, hope, and comfort.